There were some parts of Crazy Rich Asians I really liked. There were other parts of Crazy Rich Asians I didn't like at all.
While watching Crazy Rich Asians, a film directed by John Chu and starring fresh off the boat's Constance Wu, I couldn't help but be reminded of the way Marvel Studios approaches making their films. Now, I'm not saying that being crazy rich is an Asian superpower, but that this movie is first and foremost a rom-com, one that just happens to star an entirely Asian cast. What I mean by the comparison to Marvel Studios is when you watch a Captain America film, you are watching a political thriller with superheroes. When you watch Spider-Man Homecoming, you're watching a John Hughes-esque high school comedy drama with Spider-Man, a superhero. Ant-Man films are action comedies with Michael Douglas and superheroes.
Likewise, Crazy Rich Asians is a rom-com, just with Asians. Like me.
It also just happens to take place in Asia, Singapore to be more precise, and the plot is structured around Asian customs and values. Now don't go into this film expecting any overt commentary about the plight of Asian American representation in Western film and
or any other
kind
today.
of profound social
You'll
message.
see neither a wink
You'll
nor
see
a nod
neither
to
a
the
wink
fact that
nor a
this is
nod
the
to the
first
fact that
film
this is the
released
first
by a
film
major
released
Hollywood
by a major
studio
Hollywood
in over
studio
25
in
years.
over 25 years,
Entirely Asian
starring
cast.
entirely Asian
Who
cast,
speak in English,
and don't do
martial
martial arts.
Hence,
Hence,
the fact that this
the
film
fact that
exists
this
at all
film exists
is
at
a
all
statement
is
in
a
and of
statement
itself.
in and of itself.
In short, instead of taking the time to talk the talk, this movie gets right down to the business of walking the walk. And it walks like a rom-com. And I think a highly entertaining one.
And the fact that it actually succeeds in being a highly entertaining rom-com is to me a most subtle act of defiance. As if the filmmakers agreed that instead of making a film that overtly expresses the need to move the needle in terms of Asian American representation, they instead made a film that pretends as if the needle is already where it needs to be. I laughed far more than I thought I would. Most of the comedy in this film lands. The performances were excellent. The cinematography was breathtaking, and I'll be shocked if Singapore does not soon experience a huge boost in tourism. The costumes and settings were likewise fantastic. The messages sprinkled throughout the film are of the more universal variety, one of respect for values old and new, of the importance of compromise without sacrificing one's own agency, and of course, seeking the answer to the age-old question of
Love. What is love?
Now I must admit that prior to this film's release, I was not as excited as others in the Asian American community. I was not familiar with John M. Chu's earlier work, and rom-coms aren't really my thing. However, after having seen the movie, I am now very excited about the change that it could potentially bring. In a way, this movie purports two separate fantasies, one that is depicted within the film, as well as the larger fantasy that the film's very existence implies. It is to this movie's great credit that by the end of it, I had bought into both fantasies. They could have aimed higher, but why? It's a rom-com, man. The filmmakers focused solely on making a highly entertaining film in the genre of romantic comedy, and they pulled it off and then some, thus moving the dream of equal representation in Hollywood closer to reality.